Hi everybody, Sara here from Black Sheep Wools. It's week 5 of the Winter Stories Knit Along. Cannot believe we are on week 5 already. Where has it gone? The time is flying by. Now I need to make a little bit of an apology about week 4. Don't panic if you've not got to week 4. There's no mistakes, etc. But we did give you quite a lot to do in week 4, so apologies. I'm just finishing off week 3. I'm just doing the trees, which is possibly one of my favourite sections because it's really easy and really rhythmic and just works out. And I'm looking at week 4 thinking, oh my goodness, there's at least 2 or 3 weeks worth of knitting there. So apologies if you are going through it. But what I have really loved about this knit along is people don't seem to be racing through it. Sometimes when you see a knit along or a crochet along, there's a big rush to be the first to finish, etc. Haven't felt it with this one. It's been really lovely. Watching you all come together, share hints and tips, etc. has been fantastic. And as you know, we had Martin here on Saturday and he is loving seeing everybody's progress as well. So I am here to talk to you, even though I'm not up to it yet. And I'll be really honest, I'm moving house in 2 weeks. So I probably won't be up to it for a while. But I've just said to Amy, I have really enjoyed the meditative part of this blanket. Just losing myself in the colours and the stitch, you know, the number of stitches and all the rest of it. Found it really therapeutic when I'm particularly stressed. So I do feel like this would be the perfect blanket to finish off in my new home. But now we are on to week 5, okay? Now this is the week that I know from speaking to lots of you, everybody's a bit nervous about. If you haven't done a steek before, etc. Sorry, throwing my yarn all over the place. People are nervous about this bit. So I'm going to give you some hints and tips. I'm a bit nervous about this week. I've overthought this week well and truly. And actually, I don't want you to do that because spend some time before you do anything this week. Read through this pattern. This is week 5, right? Sue writes an amazing pattern. There is not stacks there because she doesn't overcomplicate things. You can do the next bit. You can steek the round blanket. You can knit the borders on both the flat and the round blankets easily just with these instructions. They're brilliant. They really are. However, what I have found really, really useful, and like I say, steeking is something that's relatively alien to me. I've done it once properly before on a workshop at the Knitting Hotel. Could even have been pre-COVID, I can't quite remember. So it was a while ago. There is a video, Very Pink Knit. You'll hear me recommend Very Pink Knit a lot. I love her instructional videos. She's on YouTube. She's like a school teacher. She's so calming and so lovely. And she produces great videos that are all relatively short and not full of gubbins, you know, where they chunner for 5 minutes about this and that. She doesn't. She shows you, she explains the technique, how you're going to use it, and she explains it beautifully and clearly. Please, 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 if you are nervous about this at all, watch the Very Pink Knit video. It's brilliant. Just put Very Pink Knits steeking into Google and it will come up on YouTube. So like I say, this sounds a lot more complicated than it is, all right? The thing that I have found most difficult about this is identifying my stitches. So you have stitches that are a V shape like that, and then you have your stitches next to it that are, well, not the stitches, but the edge, it goes a bit like that. You're using the center stitch. You're going to crochet a leg from this leg with a leg next to it and crochet this leg with a leg next to it. So you need to identify your center stitch. To me, that's been the most tricky bit because it's quite fine. So my hints and tips for this week are: watch the Very Pink Knits video. I watched it about 10 times yesterday. It is brilliant. She explains things beautifully. She really, really does. Then get yourself some sample squares. Practice on a sample square. They can be old tension squares. It gives you old tension squares. That's why we did one of the reasons to do a tension square. It gives us things to practice on. So do your tension square. What you might want to do with the sample squares is make your first sample square in chunkier yarn, in Aran or in chunk if you really want to, because that way it's easier to identify your central stitch. As I said at the beginning, the central stitch was the bit I had the most difficult with, just because I was staring and staring and staring and I got stitch blindness. So what I did do when I practiced last night was I actually put a running stitch in a completely contrast colour of yarn through the stitch, the steek stitch. And then as I was crocheting, I was pulling it out. So I could still identify where it was going up, but it wasn't getting caught up. Alternatively, you could put a locking stitch marker on the steeking stitch and then just move that up as you're going along, okay? So that is, watch the video. The instructions on the pattern are absolutely fabulous. Sue has written this out beautifully. And as I say, the thing to remember with this is not a complicated technique. It's fiddly, not complicated, and it's only scary because you're cutting, you're knitting. But if you do everything Sue tells you to do in here, watch the Very Pink Knits video, you will be absolutely fine. As I say, it isn't a complicated technique, it is a fiddly technique, more than complicated. And when you've done this, you are going to be absolutely over the moon that you've done it, because it's amazing to do. You'll feel hugely proud of yourself, and deservedly so, because we've done this and we'll be able to steek more projects in the future. Now, I am going to go into my office and I'm going to film some bits for another video. If you want the link to the Very Pink Knits video, it's below this video. Amy's going to put that link up, and then there'll be a little video of me showing you how I've done the technique. So there you go, enjoy.